I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
But in this ever-changing world in which we live in,
the iconic tuxedo, the shaken martini, and the license to kill. These elements have defined James Bond for generations. Now, as Amazon takes unprecedented control of cinema's most enduring spy franchise, one of 007's most beloved incarnations has stepped forward with a message of both caution and hope. Pierce Brosnan, who revitalized the Bond legacy in the 90s with GoldenEye after a 6-year hiatus, has made an impassioned plea regarding the future of the character he once embodied. The Bond legacy and Brosnan's renaissance.
James Bond is the most iconic and legendary secret agent in cinema history.
Of course, over the years, we've all had our favorite Bonds.
Some people are Sean Connery fans, others, Roger Moore.
Or Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, or Daniel Craig.
As great as they all are, it's impossible to ever be certain.
For over 6 decades, James Bond has represented the pinnacle of cinematic espionage, evolving from Cold War warrior to modern action hero while maintaining an unmistakable British sophistication. When Pierce Brosnan assumed the mantle in 1995 with GoldenEye, the franchise had been dormant for 6 years, an eternity in Hollywood terms. The Irish actor's tenure spanned 4 films through 2002, including Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. Brosnan's arrival coincided with a crucial moment for the franchise. The Berlin Wall had fallen, the Soviet Union had collapsed, and critics questioned whether Bond remained relevant in a post-Cold War landscape. His portrayal introduced a more emotionally complex 007 while maintaining the suave sophistication audiences expected. By blending traditional elements with contemporary sensibilities, Brosnan's films grossed over $1.4 billion worldwide, cementing Bond's place in the modern cinematic landscape. Now 71, Brosnan reflects on this period with evident pride, acknowledging how his films, quote, moved the needle for the franchise. He notes that GoldenEye was such a success that the series continued and went from strength to strength afterward. This renaissance under Brosnan's stewardship created the foundation for Daniel Craig's subsequent reinvention of the character, establishing a pattern of evolution that has kept Bond relevant across generations. The legacy he helped secure now faces its greatest transformation, not in casting or tone, but in fundamental ownership structure. As someone who breathed new life into a dormant franchise, Brosnan's perspective on this transition carries particular significance. Amazon's billion-dollar Bond acquisition. February 2024 marked a seismic shift in Hollywood when Amazon announced it had forged a joint venture with longtime Bond producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. While the financial specifics remain closely guarded, industry insiders suggest the deal values the franchise in the billions. The arrangement grants Amazon unprecedented creative control over future Bond productions, though Broccoli and Wilson remain co-owners of the intellectual property. The transfer of power represents the first time in the franchise's history that the creative direction has moved beyond the family that built it. Since producer Albert Cubby Broccoli co-founded Eon Productions and launched Dr. No in 1962, the Bond films have operated as a family business, with Broccoli's daughter Barbara and stepson Michael Wilson assuming stewardship after his death. Their fierce protection of Bond's cinematic identity has been credited with the character's enduring appeal across 6 decades of changing tastes and geopolitics. The industry response to Amazon's acquisition has been mixed. Daniel Craig, who recently concluded his 15-year tenure as 007, expressed diplomatic admiration for Broccoli and Wilson, wishing them well while expressing hopes to work with Barbara on future projects. His carefully worded statement reflected the respect Bond actors traditionally maintain for the producers who defined the franchise. Not all reactions have been so measured. Horror filmmaker Osgood Perkins, director of Longlegs, bluntly refused to consider directing a Bond film under Amazon's ownership, expressing his disdain for Jeff Bezos in decidedly colorful terms. His reaction reflects broader concerns within the filmmaking community about corporate consolidation of iconic cultural properties. Valerie Leon, who appeared in 2 Bond films during the franchise's early decades, voiced apprehension that the series would lose its essential British character under American corporate ownership. Her concern that films might bypass theatrical release entirely in favor of streaming highlights the profound shift in how audiences may experience Bond in the future, no longer as communal theatrical events, but as content delivered directly to living rooms. Brosnan's urgent message to Amazon.
That's right, everybody. James Bond, Pierce Brosnan, who played Bond from 95 to 2002, now opening up about the next movie and the one requirement that he thinks the next Bond must have, sharing with the Telegraph. It's a given whoever takes over the coveted role, he says, must be British, as rumors swirl that an American actor could be tapped to play James Bond.
Against this backdrop of uncertainty, Pierce Brosnan has emerged with a measured yet unmistakably urgent message for Amazon's executives. The former Bond actor urged the studio to handle the character with, quote, dignity and imagination and respect, three qualities that encapsulate the essence of what has made 007 endure across generations. His choice of words reveals a deep understanding of what separates Bond from other action franchises, a certain sophistication that transcends mere spectacle. While acknowledging the deal was the right decision for Broccoli and Wilson, Brosnan noted it comes with certain lament, a tacit recognition that something precious changes when a family stewardship transforms into corporate management. He acknowledged his awareness that this transition had been brewing for some time, suggesting insider knowledge of the industry forces that made such a deal perhaps inevitable. Brosnan's plea reflects his unique perspective as someone who revitalized the franchise at a critical juncture. During his tenure from 1995 to 2002, he worked closely with Broccoli and Wilson as they navigated Bond through the post-Cold War era while maintaining the character's essential appeal. This collaboration gives weight to his assessment of what makes Bond special and worth preserving. The actor's comments demonstrate a nuanced understanding of the commercial realities facing the franchise. Rather than rejecting change outright, he acknowledges that evolution is necessary while imploring Amazon to protect the character's core identity. This balanced approach suggests Brosnan recognizes the potential benefits of Amazon's global reach and resources, provided they are guided by respect for what makes Bond unique. His statement that Broccoli and Wilson demonstrated great courage in letting go reveals his empathy for producers who have devoted their lives to protecting their father's creation. Yet he expresses confidence that they will have a say in matters, suggesting his hope that their influence will moderate corporate impulses that might otherwise transform Bond beyond recognition. The British identity crisis. Central to Brosnan's concerns is the preservation of Bond's essential Britishness. The actor insisted it was a given that the next Bond must be British, directly addressing fears that Amazon's American ownership might lead to casting choices that fundamentally alter the character's identity. The stance aligns with the traditional position maintained by Broccoli and Wilson throughout their stewardship. Bond's Britishness extends beyond mere casting. The character has served as a cultural ambassador since 1962, presenting a stylized vision of British sophistication, intelligence, and resilience to global audiences. From his Savile Row suits to his naval commander background, Bond embodies a particular type of British masculinity that has evolved yet remained distinctly non-American across 6 decades. The tension between globalization and cultural identity has long been present in the franchise, but previous decisions remained under British creative control. Amazon, as an American corporation with global reach, may face different pressures when considering how to maximize the character's appeal across diverse international markets. Now it's time to hear from you. As Amazon charts a new course for 007, do you think they'll honor the character's British roots? Let us know in the comments section below.